to Simply Explained. Uh, in this part, we're going to be doing brand building. So, in the previous episode, we built Silver Creative Studio. So, what we did is we built the logo, we built the business card, and we built the letterhead. All right. So, usually these are like some of the few starting brand collateral items that you kind of need to take off. In today's episode, we're going to be doing the brand guidelines. So the brand guidelines are going to inform how the business and the brand is going to be communicated to stakeholders, to social media, and just to achieve a lot of brand consistency. Right? Awesome. So a few things. So our mock company, Silver Creative Studio, offers the following services: photography, videography, campaign development, social media management, and outbound marketing. All right. So this will be important a bit later, but I just wanted to highlight what this mock company does. Right. Awesome. So let's get back into the collateral. So we're going to be doing brand guideline, right? In the previous episode, we came and we saw some of these, and we hadn't really picked one, but I want to pick something and then I want to just edit it to make it feel super cool, right? Awesome. So let's see, my gut is telling me to go with this one. Awesome. So what I'm going to do, hold on. I'm just going to apply all 15 pages, right? Replace all pages. Let's see. Yeah. Oops. Okay, made a mistake. Cool. I don't want to replace all the pages. Actually, we just want to add pages. So we're just actually going to have to add them manually. But that's not a bit of a problem. What is it? Oh, so it's this one, right? So we're not really going to use all the pages, but this would be quite cool in order to just basically have a bit of a guideline as to how we want the brand to look and to feel, and yeah, awesome. So I'm just gonna probably add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about a few pages. I'm gonna add 10, not all of them. And my stationery, don't necessarily need that. Brand voice and social media, that's quite important. Oh, awesome. So we're going to take this template and turn it into something quite custom for Silver, right? So possibly the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to just copy and paste this logo and bring it in here, right? So Silver brand guidelines. Cool. We can delete this. This would work pretty well as an icon, but we don't necessarily want an icon right now. But yeah, cool. So I'm just going to say presented by Ali and Ali at silvercreatives.com. Cool. So the nice part about Canva is that you kind of get a bit of a guideline as to how you want a lot of this to look like, right? But what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete a lot of the pictures and then just start from scratch with regards to getting brand guidelines, right? Cool. So a few things, right? We're going to be using gradients to really just inform how the brand looks. like this blue and this pinkish and the silver in the background. So we're going to be running with that color just throughout the brand guideline, just so that business has a lot of consistency, right? Awesome. So the first thing we're probably just going to do is just rework how this page looks, right? Cool. So I'm just going to like design this, like redesign this just to be a bit cleaner. So what I do want is I want this to be more custom, right? And let's just decrease the size. Cool. And increase the size of this. All right. So in the previous episode, we noted that this is the subtext. So the subtext uses the Helvetica World font. So what we're going to do is that we're just going to apply it consistently throughout the whole document, right? So everywhere that all this text, we're just going to apply that, right? Awesome. So you can become like quite creative with how you basically like, make this brand guideline yours for your company. But this just helps with like really providing a bit of a guideline for the future when you do start doing your social media. And yeah, awesome. I'm just gonna edit this a bit longer. Cool. Maybe we can just, there it goes, centered. Cool. So we're going to be working on the silver guideline. Awesome. So again, one of the few things that you're going to have to do throughout this whole thing is, let me just do this. Just copy the logo into the space. So across this document, you find that obviously Fredel and Spies was the mock data. So what I'm just going to do is just change this to silver. All right, just move this around and make this cooler and way more aligned to what we're trying to do. Cool. Awesome. So one of the few things that I usually like starting with is I really like starting with just the fonts. All right. So the fonts really do matter because what you want to get right is you just want to get all of the information regarding how the brand is built quite well. So let's just say the subtext, and then just duplicate this. Cool. And then what I'm going to do, okay, hold on. And I'm just going to say, this is the right. So actually naming it, right? Helvetica World. Right. Cool. Now just don't forget to change it here. And what you can do is you can kind of just make it bolder. Right. And then what you do is just copy paste all of this. And then so you can do like A, B, C, D, E, F. And then just add down, but just for the purpose of time, I'm just going to copy and paste some of this information from another source. Just hold on. Let's take that and paste it in. I'm going to do is just add some spacing so you get a lot of that. And what this does is that it gives you an idea of how all the text would look with all the letters, right? And then you can come here and basically do this control shift. Okay. Cool. So again, another part that you do is you'd also have for the small letters, right? Just so you have a bit of an idea of how all the text would look, right? So this is quite important because the one thing that you do want to have on your brand guideline is just an idea of how documentation would look, proposals would look, and this does help you further down the line so that you kind of don't have to focus on this thing again, right? Q. Oh, I think I kind of forgot my letters. It's T U E W Y X X. Awesome. So I kind of can space this out properly. I'm just looking for this to look good. Cool. And then what you do after this is then you just add the numbers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. Right. You could add more text onto this, right? Just so that it basically helps you really just identify how this is gonna look, right? Awesome. Cool. And then this finish placeholders, I'm gonna just delete this. Cool. And then what you want after this is basically a place to identify how the logo was built, right? So I'm gonna just bring this here and make this just look a bit better. So I'm gonna copy paste this, duplicate it, grow it, and kind of identify a few things, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna so I don't necessarily need all of these, but I'm just gonna so we'll say this is the logo text, and this is the text, right? And then another thing that you also can identify, basically, you can just also add, and let's just paste this properly, right? Cool. This looks good. Right. And then maybe another thing that you also could have, if you did have an icon, you'd be able to identify the type of icon that you have. So this brand kit usually works well when you have external suppliers in your business who are doing some creative stuff for you, just so that they kind of recognize a few things not to change, right? I mean, nothing's worse than like giving supplier something and they don't necessarily do it according to the company standard, right? So you kind of want to have that, and just to ensure that, you know, it looks good. So I'm going to just say logo font here, subtext font. So just to identify what are the actual fonts, right? So in this one, it's Enter, but we're just going to use Helvetica, right? So I'm gonna just say, so this really does help, like especially if you just do it once and then you kind of forget about it, because you do want some of this stuff in the beginning to be complete, right? Cool. So now you've identified the logo, the subtext. Nothing that you can do is you can also identify some of like, so the one thing that we did as we're building is we got the spacing right. So we got this letter spacing of 444, 5. This is very important, just so that if someone's going to be like creating, let's say backdrops for you, you do want the spacing to be correct, right? Cool. So low spacing. So cool. So the system, I think, is always going to be Helvetica. So again, for logo usage ensures our brand's image remains strong and recognizable. Always use the logo as specified without alterations or distortions. That's very, very important. Because you don't want someone to use a similar font. You want them to use the font, right? Cool. So we're done with how to use our logo, right? We have a few things. We identify what each of these are, the logo, the text. So the logo is the text, the subtext, which is here, the logo spacing, the logo font, and the subtext font, right? So this gives someone a bit of an identity on what to use, right? Cool. And then can go back to colors. So our core colors, I'm just going to delete this because I want this to use lots of gradients, right? So what I want to do is I'm going to come back here, right? And kind of identify, so this was locked. Cool. I can come back in here and identify some of the colors that were used. So the great part about Canva is you have the color codes. So as you can see, for C84 for the blue, and then for the grays you have A6, A6, A6. For the other gray you have 73, 73, 73. And then for the blue or for the purple or pink, magenta, you have all of that, right? So the great part about all of this is that you can actually just grab them. So for example, on this, just come in here, copy and paste it, and boom, I can come back here into our primary colors, secondary colors, and what I'll be able to do is I'll make the blue the primary color, right? And then I'm gonna come back here. I think I can just access it from here actually, because it is on the same document, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come to colors. So fantastic, we have the pink as well. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come in and select all of this, right? Select the color code. So the color code helps keeping the brand consistent across all your posts. What you want is a unified color. Obviously, like when you have your social media, how your tags look, how your presentations look, etc., etc., etc. Right, and then we can come back here and say tertiary colors. Tertiary color, and I'm just going to add color code here, which is, I'm going to use the silver here, this gray. All right, so I'm actually just going to put both of them. A6A6 slash, what's this one? Oh, 73, 73. Awesome. So now that you have the color codes for tertiary colors, you can now, I'm going to do, oh, so now you have the core colors of the business, right? So what I'm going to just do is I'm going to just duplicate this, right? Delete this part inside and this, There you go. I delete this because I want this, right? So I'm gonna just copy it. Copy the full thing. And just so it is ungrouped. Oh, it's not ungrouped. I want it to be ungrouped. And then paste it here. But as you see, so these are just the secondary and the blue colors. That generate obviously all of that. Then you have this background. We can just copy and paste it to the color here. So what I actually should have done first is I should have minimized this, right? Just so cool. So the minimized version is this version, right? And then I want to make this white again. All right. So yeah, these are then core colors and how the gradient works together. What you also can do if you're just trying to achieve the same thing here is you can just come here and create this, maybe decrease it a bit, and then you use those same grays that you listed, right? You can come here. Great part about Canva, you can create your own gradients as well. So I'm going to choose something like this. Where's the gradient fixer? Let me see. Gradient colors. Yeah, so the great part about this is you can choose your gradient colors. So as we see here, you have the colors. So we have A6, 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 right? Cool. The second one is 73, 73, 73. Awesome. Oh, it is a bit too dark. Cool. Also, I'm just going to take this to the back. So this does look like a silver, but you want to bring some personality into it, right? Cool. Awesome. So basically now you have your colors. What you can do maybe just to distinguish some of these is to do this where you have a block, then you have this, right? So this is obviously inspired from how this looks, right? Just going to delete this part here. This is a duplicate, and we're going to be running with these colors, right, throughout however we build this brand and whatever you want to do. Right, awesome. So let's see, what have we done? So we've done the logo, we've done the fonts. I can delete this part here. I want to add something here a bit later. But yeah, so brand guidelines, fonts, logo usage, all colors. And yeah, we can move on to maybe what we stand for. So part of building a brand really is like identifying what your brand is about, right? So remember, this is a creative agency, so we can say full creative expression. So we stand for, then you can say we also stand for highly inquisitive, let me say highly engaging conversations, because part of what we want to create is engaging conversations, right? So this will be quite important when we get to building the website and we get to building some of the copy, right? Awesome. And yeah, customer focus is quite important. So awesome. Highly engaging conversations. engaging, just spell it right. Engaging, looks so. Use this. There you go. Awesome. So what we've done is not too bad. Um, and maybe where we can actually wrap up is defining how we speak, right? So here in this example, right, we have clear and concise tone, variability, and positive language, right? So we can kind of just stick to this because this is quite good, to be quite honest. And then the only thing I'm just going to do is just copy all of this. Cool. So we can kind of just delete a lot of these parts. So this is really just to make it as simple as possible. You kind of can get into really a whole lot more of the brand guidelines, right? So whether this is, how your fonts should look, whether this is how your business should appeal, whether this is the personality of your business, the personality of, your social media. So there's so much more that you actually can get into, but this is really just a bit of an easy guideline. So it's part of Simply Explained. So I kind of want to get into making this too comprehensive, right? So I'm just gonna fix this up, and let's see how it's gonna look by the time I'm done with it. Awesome. So I'm just gonna make this font. Just this font. It's 20, 23. It's kind of just has to match, and also just changing the font. So I think the one thing that you kind of have to also focus on is changing the font, right, across the entire thing, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to make all of this a bit of a gradient. So I'm going to change it all, right? Just go backwards. Oh. So the change all kind of affected this. We don't want it here. We don't want it here on the logo. But this is quite cool. No doubt. This is actually quite cool. So I'm going to keep this, right? But essentially, this is the brand guidelines. So I really like, personally, I like gradients, right? So hence why this is also kind of like some of the gradient colors that we can use and what we stand for, and defining how we speak, right? So here, we can really grow this just so it fits the page. So this is just a bit important when you are like building stuff and you're going to be sending it to people to do other creative work for you, right? Because you want them to keep the consistency of your business. So you really do want to have the type of document constantly ready, just so that whenever you have suppliers who are doing stuff for you, they're able to communicate your brand very well. All right, so the last thing I'm just going to do here is remove the numbers. They're cool, but yeah. So yeah, awesome. So in the next one, we're probably going to be building the website for this, just so we can translate the brand into something for consumers to see. Awesome. I will see you on the next guideline.